Hey everyone, Thunder here. Today I'm going to talk about the Red Battle Event and how to get yourself set up for it. We're going to cover a few things. The first one is your build, and the second one is going to be your Battle Event multiplier links. Both are really important for doing well. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing to know about is the Battle Event multiplier links are down here. And you get a page like this with everything laid out. The very first one we're going to start with over here is the bottom, and we're going to click links. And you can see that you can get melee resistance here and magic resistance here, and this is a talisman symbol. To know which one to use, we're actually going to exit this screen, and we're going to come back in and check out the boss event. And if you take a look at the guild boss, you can hit this details button here. You'll actually see what the boss has. So the attack we want to optimize around is this first attack that hits every 2 turns, or every other 2 turns. So it's hits, waits 2, hits again. So 3 is the round spacing. And what we're looking at specifically here is that the boss has a magic attack, so this is how we know what we're going to be getting hit with the most. It's just this constant heavy magic attack. And we see it goes through 70% of our shield. But 30% will go to the shield, so we want to make sure we're able to keep our shield up to eat that 30% of the damage. Alright, hopping back over here. Since we now know that the boss does magic attacks, right, we want to come in here and get this magic resistance, which is a talisman. So I have a talisman right here. Now notice I'm going to pick something that's artifact 4, but any legendary will do. It doesn't actually matter. I just have some leftovers of these in my inventory. If you do not have an artifact, it's important to note that you can use an epic, which is ×3, or even a rare, which is ×2. Losing 1 or 2 multiplier to get the right bonuses is definitely worth it. Alright, and this gives us that 10% magic resist. Coming on up to the third row, I'm going to open this up. And we're going to see here that we have a couple of options. The one we actually like is this 4% shield here. Like I said earlier, 30% of what the boss's damage does to us is actually going to hit our shield. And when we cover the build in a little bit, you'll see that it doesn't have a lot of shield regeneration built in, so this helps us out a lot. And this is going to use gloves and a weapon. Pick up some gloves, and we're going to pick up a weapon here. Oops. Pick up a weapon here. And that's going to activate the 4% shield regeneration every round. Alright, coming back up, we have our orb slots. And there's only 3 different orbs that'll work. You're going to have a legendary of it, an epic of it, and a rare of it. The legendary is obviously the best. You get that huge 15 bonus. And when you start the battle, you get 2 extra red spirits. These extra spirits at the start are really good to get your build rolling really fast. So you don't have a lot of downturns while you're trying to get set up. Very nice. The epic is also quite good because you get that 1 spirit bonus boost as well. And the rare is not bad, it's just a nice multi bump. If you are a free-to-play player, normally you're going to get 1 legendary orb from a craft. You'll be able to get up to 2 legendary orbs, 2 epic orbs using a craft, and you'll usually end up left with 1 rare orb that you just kind of have to deal with. So let me socket some in here. Now, if you've used orbs before, you know you can enhance them to get the bonuses out of them. And you'll also notice that I didn't level any of them, so let's start with that. Leveling the orbs doesn't give you any extra bonus at all, so save your gold. You don't want to use it here. Now you'll notice I did enhance my legendary orbs, and you see that power going up, but I didn't enhance my epic orb. Enhancing an epic orb does not increase your multiplier, so don't waste your time doing that. All right. You'll also notice that I left an epic orb here. An epic orb here because I'm going to use a craft to get my next legendary. Now keep in mind that you can actually sacrifice these legendary orbs to help enhance the next event's orbs, so these enhancements don't go completely to waste. Alright, let's go up to this very top row here. There's a lot of options here. The first thing to note is that there's a couple crafts here that are important. You get this legendary token, which you can make through your crafting, and you get this legendary item, which you can also make through crafting. So you'll be able to get times 30 multiplier up here pretty easily. If you're free to play and you don't get any good luck out of the battle event multiplier keys, which can give you either of these two items, what you're going to do is you're going to put your legendary token here. You're going to put your legendary item that you've crafted up here, and then you'll use the friend token and an epic token to just get a really nice multiplier. If you use your battle event keys, you could get one of these items here if you get lucky. You can also get them from spending rewards, top-up rewards, or rolling the battle event chests. That can give you that as well. If you get one, you can activate the Generous Red, which will give you a 50% chance to proc 2 white. And if you happen to get both, you can activate the Very Generous Red, which will give you a 50% chance of proccing 4 white. So we'll socket these in real quick. Now I happen to have both of the items, so I will put them on. And I'm going to actually activate the Very Generous Red in a second here, which will give me that extra passive and will help with some damage on the boss. It's much more important when you're doing the guild boss, but we'll touch on that later. Probably a different video. So coming in here, you'll notice that we have the artifact for legendary boots, and it gives a 30%. If you bring up any of these items to that 7 boost, you'll also get a 30%. However, in general, you don't want to artifact these items until after the battle event, because if you actually get a 8th copy, right, and you artifact forward this, you can't move this up to 32.5. Right, it's stuck at 30. You lose out on potential. So normally you don't want to do this as a rule of thumb. Alright, let's go over and talk a little bit about the build. So this is a very core build that everyone uses for the red battle event. The main weapon here is the Hecatombus. The first passive just gives you a bit of early damage in the fight. It's the second passive that really makes this attractive, and it's when we're healed, we get to add 2 red spirits to our board, which is going to help us keep spamming a 4 red attack. You'll see in a minute. And the other weapon here is the Azazel Shield. And the first passive here is actually really big. When you're high on health, and since our boss only attacks us every 3 turns, we'll pretty much always be high on health when we get attacked, right? We're going to reduce the boss's magic damage by 11%. So what happens here is when we reduce the boss's magic stat 11%, and then we guard with magic resistance 10%, we reduce a lot of that incoming damage. Coming down here for the support for Destroyer's passive, this is what helps make the build play very smoothly. It says when we use 4 red, we're going to trigger 1 red. So let's hop in and see how this works real quick. So the first talent we like is Bloodlust, and we're going to be focusing on the 4 red here, right? And you'll notice it does a nice solid attack damage, and then it heals us, right? And that heal with Hecatombus is going to recover 2 red spirits out of the 4 we used. In addition, because we used that 4 red, Azazel is going to give us 1 white. So this is Crest Guardian, and it's going to trigger a second heal, so we're going to spend 2 red, gain 2 red spirits from Bloodlust, and then gain 2 red spirits from Crest Guardian. So we're going to spend 4 red, gain 4 red, so we can keep going in a cycle. In addition, we get a nice attack damage buff, which is nice. Now this middle talent here is Transcendental Tornado. It's not too important to use this specific one, but it is pretty popular because you have a 1 blue heal option. So if your board's not lined up right and you need to get something shifted, you can just tap 1 blue, you'll heal, and you'll be able to generate 2 red spirits as well. So this way you can tap 1 white or 1 blue to generate more spirits for your board. So this is a very popular one. Now what you'll notice when you're playing the build is if you have enough health and you've been doing this a while, you'll be getting up higher and higher on the boss, and the boss will just keep smashing and breaking your shield, and sooner or later the boss is just going to actually break through your shield, and you're not going to be able to generate enough shield, which will mean you're taking 30% of, like a full 100% of that damage to your health rather than putting 30% on your shield, which is not good. When the boss gets that strong, what we typically want to do is actually get more shield generation. So instead of using Crest Guardian, we're going to change this out. And what we're going to use is Elevation. So now Elevation is a change. So we're still going to use Azazel. It's still going to proc our 1 white, which is here. It's going to give us extra shield regeneration. So instead of going at 4%, we're going to go at 16.8% in this case, which is a pretty big deal. That's a lot more shield coming in. So the boss is not going to be able to just easily break that on us. And we'll also gain 1 red spirit here. This is really nice because before we were using a heal to gain 2. At least with this we still gain 1. So we're going to spend 4 red and gain 3 red, which means we rely a little bit on the spirit generation. When we use spirits more come into the board, we rely a bit on that to give us some red so we don't get bad RNG. That chance for bad RNG is why we don't start out using elevation. We want to be as safe as possible for as long as possible. Alright, this is the overview for how to participate in red battle events. Hope this helps you with your climbing up the ladder, and enjoy Questland. I hope you see you at the top. Thunder out.